Good morning, everyone. I'm out on the porch this morning with my coffee, and I'm not going to be showing my face today because, well, I'm just not. I just wanted to bring some things to you guys' attention. There's been a new disease detected in the U.S. for the first time, and its fatality is up to 70% of its sufferers. So I'm not sure if it's the same thing, but there was a warning out that you could actually catch something from your dog or your cat while outdoors. So mites that cats and dogs get normally don't affect humans, okay? Like the sarcoptic mange ones, da-da-da-da-da-da. But the United States has reportedly for the first time detected a disease carried by mites that kills up to 70% of people it infects. The disease is referred to as scrub typhus. Yep, scrub typhus, also known as, Tsukumoshi fever. Okay, it's from Asia. It is a bacterial infection that is transmitted by mites, and the mites can be found in wooded areas, especially in tropical and subtropical regions. Well, right now, a lot of us feel subtropical because it's been hot, sticky, and moist, like here in the Adirondacks. According to the Center of, for Disease and Control and Prevention, study scrub typhus was found in mites hailing from half of North Carolina's national parks. Scrub typhus is a serious disease that can be fatal if not treated. The symptoms of scrub typhus typically appear 10 to 12 days after being bitten by an infected mite. These symptoms can include fever, headache, muscle pain, rash, and cough. In some cases, scrub typhus can lead to complications such as pneumonia, encephalitis, and death. The mortality rate for scrub typhus can be as high as 70% in untreated cases. So the CDC is warned that scrub typhus has been detected in the United States for the first time. And the case was reported in a patient in Washington State who had recently traveled to Asia. So an entomologist at North Carolina State University confirmed the detection of the case in America. This is the first time scrub typhus has been detected in the free-living chigger mites. We all know about chiggers. So now, I'm sure I have your attention. So free-living chigger mites in the U.S. By the way, before I go and read all this, they had 10 chigger mites. 9 out of the 10 had this scrub typhus. So here are the tips to help prevent this. Avoid wooded areas where mites are found. Wear long sleeves and pants when you're in wooded areas. Use insect repellent that contains DEET. Check your body for ticks and mites after being in wooded areas. If you think you've been exposed to scrub typhus, please see a doctor right away so that you can prevent the worst while it's still early. So, that's that. Now we have something else about AI with some terrifying predictions for what humans will look like in 1,000 years. Well, what I'm going to look like in 1,000 years, hopefully I'm going to be, with God by then, so I don't think I'll be looking like this. But anyway, using AI to create the average or most stereotypical image of certain things is pretty much the internet's favorite toy right now. All those TikTok things and this, that, the other thing, people put their face on there and it generates what they'll look like when they're older or back when they're younger. the odd stuff that everybody's doing. Or at least the artificial intelligence thinks the future has in store for the human race is about 1,000 years' time, provided we haven't, blown ourselves to kingdom come by then. They asked an AI program, Midjourney, to mock up some pictures of what it reckons human beings will look like 1,000 years from now. And you might not like the prediction it made. This is concerning. It kind of reminds you of what a zombie would look like nowadays, right? So, yeah. Don't know why that is, but that's pretty odd. I mean, AI is pretty odd, right? Yeah. Kind of looks like aliens, right? Okay, so also we are looking at a patient count in Cyclospora parasite outbreak jumps by more than 200. The number of patients in a larger outbreak of infections from the Cyclospora parasite has increased significantly, with the count approaching 600. Again, the Centers for the Disease Control and Prevention have been tracking the outbreak since April 1st, and as of this week, they are 581 laboratory confirmed patients. The previous update from the agency on June 22nd had 317 patients listed. No specific food items have been identified, but I know that there was broccoli in here. Let's see. The patients are logged from 32 jurisdictions, including 31 states and New York City. See, they don't even consider that a state because it's not. It's just part of New York. Sick people range in from 3 years old to 96 years old, with a median age of 49 to 61% being female. There are likely more patients because of the time it takes for the infection to develop and time required for testing, confirmation testing, and reporting. So they mimic other illnesses and symptoms and subside and then reappear. So of 569 people with information available, 55 have been hospitalized and no deaths have been reported. Since April includes 20 cases in Georgia and Alabama linked to an outbreak associated with raw imported broccoli. Okay, now the key word there is imported. People, grow your own food, and then, you can can it, you can, take the steps to go through with vegetables. You can blanch it and then freeze it. So cycloparasis, or whatever it's called there, I'll put it on the screen. So the sources of the illness cases been reported in the United States. Multiple outbreaks of this caused by different foods can be reported during the same year. Previous U.S. outbreaks of Cyclospora, I can't do that word, guys, have been linked to various types of produce, including basil, cilantro. See, this is all stuff you guys can grow. Snow peas, I've grown those. We just actually harvested those. And raspberries, which we also have out back. You guys can grow broccoli. I don't have luck growing broccoli. I'm going to try again next year. I did not try this year. So, infection can cause severe abdominal pain, watery diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, body aches, and fatigue. Symptoms can develop between 2 and 14 days after exposure. This is from eating food. So this cyclo, I'll just call it, okay? Cycloporiasis, okay, have been linked to various types of fresh produce. So, the washing of produce will remove the parasite. So, do a vinegar rinse. And the other thing we have is a rat-borne virus with high casualty rate. There's not so much about this one, but a mother and son reported to have died from a rat-borne disease with a high casualty rate. Scans of the victims, who were publicly identified but said to be Native American living on a reservation in Arizona, showed that their lungs had suspiciously resembled victims of Hantavirus, which was confirmed after samples were sent to and tested by the U.S. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention in July. The mother reportedly suffered from fever, coughed up blood, and experienced shallow breathing before succumbing to the disease, while her son was reported to have suffered fever 3 days before vomiting and collapsing hours before his death. Hantavirus is a disease in which people can be infected by touching surfaces contaminated with rodent feces before touching their mouth or nose, and is reported to kill 1 in 3 infected humans. People, wash your hands, wash your food. Oy. Yep, so that happened in Arizona. Meanwhile, here in the Adirondacks, Governor Kathy Hochul must order the release of the Adirondack Road Salt Task Force. So up here we have a lot of mountain roads and a lot of roads that are cut right there by rivers and lakes and ponds and, basically just mass forests. We get a lot of ice. And so let's just take 2021. We used a lot of salt, people. A lot of salt around the Adirondacks. I think it was like 190,000 pounds or something like that. So Blue Mountain Lake, Lake George, the big lakes. Blue Mountain Lake, I think you can see like 9 to 12 meters of clear water. So yeah, it was estimated 193,000 tons of salt are put down on state and local roads each winter. About 110,000 tons on state roads alone. The New York State DOT, Department of Transportation, applies an average of over 23 tons of salt per lane kilometer on state roads annually. So what's been happening is that I'm going to put this article in the description of this video. I'll put all of them linked there, but you guys can go through and read this. But as much as I've said about Kathy Hochul, okay, I do agree with this one. However, if this happens, the fatality rate is, pray for this, because if they use less salt, we may have more casualties on the roads, because they're treacherous. They are treacherous. They have noticed that certain waters have gotten this salt in the water, okay? And as many of you as you have, you know that the lakes, rivers, and ponds up here are so clean, and they still are. However, they are starting to find out that these salts are seeping in. So in the summer we have a lot of rain. So with that rain, it's taking salt from the land, from the roads that was there prior. So they lay the salt on the road for traffic, for safety, and then what happens is it dries, it gets swept to the side of the road, into the dirt, onto the rocks, and then we have a rain. So all of our rains, everything, we have a lot of natural springs all of our, all of our lakes, ponds, rivers, everything is fed from springs. And, it creates waterfalls. And so all that gets washed down and goes into the water. So the levels are getting higher. And I know that salt cannot be taken out unless you draw it out. So you can keep adding water to a saltwater fish tank without adding salt, and the salinity is going to stay the same. Okay? So when you have, let's say, a 75-gallon tank full of water, you put in your salt and you get your salinity up to where you need it. When you do a water change, when you take that out, then you need to replace that. But if you have condensation and evaporation from that tank and just the water is evaporated, you just put fresh water back in and that salinity stays the same. Okay? All right. So anyway, that's what we're dealing with. So yeah, I'm going to put this in the description. We've had a lot of flooding in the Adirondacks, and we've had it around, Vermont. It's been crazy. So, and it's been really a hot, sticky, moist summer so far. I don't know, guys. For me, we're always going to have something. But with all the spraying they did in New York City for mosquitoes, they're having problems with other bugs now, okay? Because they spray for one thing, and it's like spraying and then killing off other things. So our dragonflies eat mosquitoes. And if you do something where it takes out dragonflies, you're going to have more mosquitoes. If you take out mosquitoes, that I don't know, you just the circle of life, people. One thing feeds upon the other. And if you take out one thing and the other thing is becoming a problem because you wiped out the very thing that eats the other issue. So I don't know where the happy medium is going to be. But to me, it sounds like they want to keep you out of the forest. Not really. They're not saying that. But there's going to be a lot of people living in fear because, they don't want mites and they don't want to go to places because, you might come in contact with some kind of rat. And, the frozen food, got to make sure you wash that too. All right. Well, anyways, don't stress. Just be informed and look into these things. I will put all 5 of these links into the description of this video. Y'all have a great day. I'm sorry I'm pressed for time. But I've got some things to do today. But I wanted to get these things out to make you guys aware. God bless.